To our favorite listeners and viewers, you're welcome back. This is the Ordained Radio TV Gospel Ministry, where we bring you the end time news, the undiluted word of God, dynamic praise, trending health fact and gist, and talks on love, relationship, and marriage. My name is Adenike and you are welcome on End Time Prophetic News Analysis, where we discuss a lot of world news that are in line with prophecies fulfilling. And of course, I have my colleague here with me, Pastor Alfred Jimo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you for always being there for us. Lord bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much for coming back on the show as usual.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure coming.
So today we'll be discussing another world news that have been casted earlier. If you missed it, please check the link below in the description to watch that particular video. And so we'll go right into the news headline we have up for discussion today. The first news headline reads, "The Middle East Crisis, Dynamics of Global and Geopolitical Energy and Control." So we are still on this Middle East thing because it's still ongoing.
It's trending, still trending.
It's still trending, yeah. and we are meant to watch. We are still watching, and right. So this is another news update. So what's going on?
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank all our viewers who have always make it a date with us on this program, praying that the news and the programs that you are following on this station, God will use it to alert you, to keep you at alert to the fact that the coming of the Lord is close. And what is happening in the world today are not just news items. Many of them are prophecies that are being fulfilled, that God allowed to happen so as to wake up his people at the end of the age, not to be complacent with their own Christianity, with their own salvation. Yeah, onto the question about the Middle East crisis. No doubt, I must say that about 70 to 80% of the news out there in the global space is talking about what is happening in the Middle East.
Yes.
Why? Because the Middle East crisis has, as we said in the news item, has, cascaded from being a battlefield war into an energy, economic, and control war. What do I mean by this? It has seriously, because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which has affected the energy route. That is, when we talk about energy route, we are talking about the route for oil and gas, from that oil-rich region into other parts of the country where they are needed to sustain their economies. Other parts of the world, where other parts of the world, like the America, Europe in particular, and other places where these energies, oil and gas, are needed to sustain their economy. Now, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the strike against the various oil and gas fields and refineries in the Gulf region has actually affected the economy of the world, because the cost of production as a result of the high cost of fuel, energy and gas, has become very, very high. And has added to the cost of production, and therefore added to high cost of living in Europe, in America. So it is no more a conventional war, conventional battlefield war. It is now a war of economy, a war of oil and gas. That is what is now becoming. So, and the control. Don't forget that in several of our news items here, we have emphasized the fact that the world is going to a central control. So what is happening in the Middle East now is basically on who controls what. Who is in control of the Strait of Hormuz? Who is in control of the fuel, of the oil and gas route? Who is in control of the refineries? And all of this put together, and that exactly is what the Antichrist is coming to come and do, to take control. So for us in the end time prophetic news, this is a test run, a test case as to what is going to happen in the days of the Antichrist. Whoever is able to control, you will see that Israel and America, they are trying all their best to frustrate the control of Iran over the Strait of Hormuz. And right now, they are winning, as it were, because why? Most of the Gulf region that have been sympathetic with Iran because of their religious inclinations, they are now against Iran. because Iran knows it cannot reach America. But if you cannot reach America, you can reach America friends. You can reach the facilities of America in that region. So Iran is facing Qatar, is facing Oman, is facing Jordan, is facing UAE, is even facing Saudi Arabia, attacking their refineries, attacking their oil installations and oil fields and all of that. So that is further isolating Iran. And if at the end of the day, all these Gulf region now team up with America and Israel, they might obliterate Iran. Then what America and Israel actually want to achieve in Iran may become very feasible. And what is that? A regime change, which of course they have planned that it will be faster than now, but they have not found it easy to get it. But by the time all of these friends of Iran now turn their back on Iran and begin to join America to attack Iran, then Iran may be on the way to losing the battle. So if they lose the battle, then it means that America will take control of that region and rebuild its own military facilities and rebuild this thing and now take total control, just like what America is doing in Venezuela today. Though it has not been easy as in Venezuela, but the trend of events may show that Iran may not win this war. The control of that region, the Gulf region, will slip from the hands of Iran.
We'll be watching. Thank you so much for that deep analysis, sir.
You're welcome.
So now we'll go to the second news headline, which reads, "Emerging trend on the pulpit. Pastors evading preaching on Bible prophecy and end time. Another prophecy." Now, this news headline is talking about how pastors are no longer preaching, end time messages and preaching Bible prophecies. And this itself is another prophecy being fulfilled.
That's right.
Let's discuss it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Every Christian, discerning Christian, of course, we observe that the trend of preaching in these new generation churches, that are everywhere today, is not like the trend of preaching when the likes of Apostle Peter, Apostle Paul was there. It's not even the type of trend of preaching that was in the days of the earlier believers, early followers of Jesus Christ, even up to the 19th century, up to the time of 1906, when the Azusa revival was trending. It is not that kind of preaching that we are having today. We cannot compare what we are hearing on the pulpits of churches today with what the likes of Apostle Ayo Babalola of the CAC fame and the likes of even Idahosa and the rest of Ora Roberts and the rest of them. The way they were preaching in those days is not the way pastors are preaching today. What do we have today? We have new generation pastors who are preaching to new generation Christians. And what are they preaching? They are preaching prosperity. They are preaching inspirational, messages, which, hammer a lot about how to break through. Pastors no more preach about prophecy. Why? Because it's a complex topic. They don't want to preach about the second coming of the Lord, because some of them are thinking that if we preach about this, what will people say? That since this thing has been in the Bible, it has not been fulfilled.
Right. So
they are stylishly avoiding these areas of the Bible. That is the prophecy that are in the Bible, in the book of Zechariah, in the book of Daniel, in the book of Ezekiel. All of those prophecies there, you hardly hear about them in our pulpits and Sunday schools today in many churches. So it's a new trend. It's a trend that is going on that many Christians may not be discerning it. But yet, that in itself, what end time prophetic news is saying today is that in itself is a prophecy fulfilling. Because Paul has said it, that a time will come that they will no more endure sound doctrine, that they will heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. That is, teachers that will teach the things they want to hear. That is why today, if many new generation Christians go to any church where prophecy, end time is being preached, and they are not preaching how they can get a key to break through, the next Sunday you might not see them there. If they go to places where sound holiness message is being preached, the next Sunday you may not find them there. And because many pastors today need the crowd, to sustain their bank accounts, they are evading that kind of preaching, and they are going on to new generation, a new trend of preaching, which is inspirational, which is breakthrough, prosperity, and things like that. So what end-time prophetic news is doing with this news item today is to let our follower know that evading preaching on prophecy and the second coming of Jesus Christ is in itself a prophecy being fulfilled, as was said by Apostle Paul to Timothy, chapter 4, that they desire sound doctrine. They will desire teachings that suit their own purpose.
Thank you so much, sir. So very quickly, we are going to join the last news headline to this one. So the last news headline reads, Notwithstanding, pastors' apathy, emerging trends show more people believe we are at the end time.
That's right. Well, that sounds paradoxical somehow. That why some pastors are evading end time preaching, so more people are now believing that we are in the end time. And as if you follow that news item, a research was conducted in the University of Columbia, where the statistics shows that more and more people are now believing that this world will end during their lifetime. It sounds paradoxical. That why is it like that? But that is what God can do. You see, it is man. Pastors are men. They are doing their own. They are of the world. They are doing their own. But the man of God, as we quoted in that news item, Evangelist Nate Frisbee said something in one of his sermons, that God will do a new thing. As the world is doing their own, God is also doing his own. So, and technology, inventions that are happening, all this progress that are happening with humanity, notwithstanding them, they are having some inner consciousness that this world is drifting towards a final, breaking point, which will come very soon, and which the Bible describes as the end time.
End time. Thank you so much for this detailed news analysis.
Thank you very much.
We'll be wrapping it up here, but of course we are not going totally. We'll be coming back with more world news that are in line with prophecies fulfilling. And we just want you to know, just like the last news headline states, just as people are now having that personal conviction, which God himself is putting in their hearts, it points to all that we have been discussing. The end is truly here. And what are we doing aside watching? Are we just looking at these trends coming up and a lot of things going on in the world?
Or are we actually preparing, focusing on ourselves, preparing to be able to go in the translation?
Exactly. And with the way the world is moving into the third world war, nobody should be here when it happens. Nobody should be here. Thank you so much, our listeners and viewers, for joining us and waiting with us this far. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at Ordained Radio TV. I remain your host, Adenike, and of course my colleague here, Pastor Alfred.
Thank you very much for having me.
At this point, we say bye for now.
Bye for now. Shalom.